The MJ Morning Show, along with Dennis Phillips and the ABC Action News weather team, covering Hurricane Milton like nobody else. This is 104.7 FM, Q105.
All right, folks, hopefully your preparations, your plans are well underway, if not complete. Welcome to the MJ Morning Show, 6 o'clock here on a Tuesday morning. And we have roughly, 36 hours until we get to a landfall situation. Again, the speed and track is subject to change depending on forward speed. You know, it has fluctuated. Remember, if you looked at the earlier forecast models, this thing was going to be a potential impact during the morning show on Wednesday. Then it went to like 1 p.m. Wednesday. Then it was more like late afternoon Wednesday. And now the latest timing for Hurricane Milton, of all freaking names, is looking late Wednesday night, crossing midnight into Thursday morning. So later on Wednesday night, later tomorrow night, into the early morning hours of Thursday is what we're looking at regarding the actual hurricane making landfall wherever that is. Still, you've got the wide swath, the cone, the margin of error could be 100 miles or so. As it gets closer, the margin of error diminishes and the cone shrinks. But everybody along the West Coast, really from northern Citrus County all the way down to Lee County, Fort Myers, you have to be on alert. We've seen these things wobble. We've seen these things take a turn. You have to treat this like a life-changing, life-endangering situation. The latest, by the way, welcome, Fester. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Thank you very much. Welcome, Roxanne.
Yeah, hey, Roxanne.
Thank you.
Hey, Fester, I'm concerned about your drive-in because you take 275, and I get on at the Howard Franklin Bridge right near the entrance of the bridge from South Tampa. Coming this way, coming southbound 275 through downtown, through the West Shore District, to I'm sure that was smooth sailing this morning because everyone's going the other way.
So get this, traffic coming into St. Petersburg, you're right, nice and easy.
Yeah.
I've never seen traffic leaving Pinellas County busier.
At this time of the day.
So by the time I get to the bridge, there's a long line of dump trucks with a police escort heading into Pinellas County. Like 30 dump trucks.
30 dump trucks heading into Pinellas County with a police escort.
Yes.
FHP or?
Pinellas County. I raced up to see who was giving the escort, and it was Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, escorting through Hillsborough.
Over the bridge.
Yeah,
I saw them as I got onto the bridge.
So it sounds like whether it's Pinellas County or St. Pete or Clearwater. So you saw the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office leading the escort?
Yes.
So they must have gone wherever.
And met them?
And then to bring them into Pinellas, I'm imagining to do last-minute debris clearance. And they're going to be able to clear debris to a certain extent tomorrow as well, as long as they can do it safely. Now, as far as tropical storm force winds, again, that's going to be later in the day on Wednesday, tomorrow. But tomorrow, expect for rain bands and winds to increase incrementally all throughout the day. So we're going to start feeling rain and winds sometime during the day on Wednesday, and it's just going to progress as Milton gets closer. All right, so I don't think I've ever seen, and it wasn't like it was bumper to bumper. I mean, some of the traffic stories from yesterday, people, I've got multiple stories of people trying to get 60 miles and it taking 6 hours. And,
that was everywhere, and within little pockets. Yeah,
right, all over the place. People just had extended travel times. I mean, there are a lot of issues that we want to deal with this morning as far as gas, travel time. There's a lot of elements that we will discuss, but you really, by midday today, you should be locked in stone on what you're doing and allow a lot of time for traffic, because I-4, I-75. Back to this morning, the traffic at 5:25-ish on the Howard Franklin Bridge leaving Pinellas, heading to Hillsborough, 275 north. It was heavy, but it was not like bumper to bumper.
No.
I don't recall ever seeing the traffic that heavy at 5:25 in the morning.
And a lot of families woke up this morning and said, okay, we're leaving first thing in the morning. We're getting up. We're pulling out at 5 a.m.
We're going to beat the traffic out of here.
Yeah.
And
And
come on, kids, go. Let's beat the traffic.
Listen, in those cars, I bet you there were a lot of kids sleeping in pajamas as their parents were getting them out of town.
Yeah, so all of the mandatory evacuation zones, get the hell out. As far as, Andrew, hold that thought. Andrew's sticking his hand up. All right, so hang on. Let me bring up just some of the latest evacuation. Do you see? Oh, you saw the sign in the lobby about life being endangered. Yeah, our building management obviously covering their legal butts. I don't know if that's a legally binding contract. Posting a yellow note on the door, but anyway,
what are we? I have to ask you. What are we? 4 feet above sea level here?
You know what? I don't even know. I got to be honest. I know what my house is.
I have this. You know what? I want you to give me your off air. Give me your home address because I have this little app. You plug it in and you can plug any address in, and it supposedly tells you. Yeah. And I want to see how accurate it is with your home.
I know exactly what mine is. My actual dirt. I am 6 feet above sea level. My actual dirt. And then the first floor of my house is 11 feet 3 inches because I've got the flood certificate. That I had to have the surveyors and my certified flood certificate in order to get flood insurance, et cetera, or to get insurance for the house. So my first floor is at 11 feet 3 inches.
Okay,
so if storm surge hits the number that they think, and it's all going to depend on where Milton makes landfall. Because right now, it weakened just a bit. I mean, some of the winds yesterday. I mean, what was it? Knocking on 175. I mean, just insane.
It was like historical records how fast it accelerated, right?
As far as the ramp up, the intensity. Oh, there was a rapid intensification. And then again, just the track on this thing, where it came from. Just over on the west coast of Mexico and then crossing land, getting into the Gulf, et cetera. This thing, as of 5 a.m., so the 5 a.m. advisory, Milton, just a little over an hour ago, was still sitting off of the Yucatan Peninsula, right in the middle of the Yucatan Peninsula. So it is still, 600 miles or so away from the West Coast or the Tampa Bay area, more specifically as far as the crow flies. But this thing has picked up forward speed. The movement now is east-northeast at 12 miles an hour. Yesterday, we had some speeds at 6 miles an hour, 7, then up to 8. And now we're sitting at a forward speed of 12 miles an hour on Milton. And now the timing tends to be late tomorrow night, midnight Thursday into the overnight hours. So what was going to be a daytime event is now going to be a middle of the night event. So I don't know which people prefer, but that's where we are. Hang on, I just got a message from Greg D. So, Dennis Phillips locked in for 8:30 this morning. So Dennis Phillips, ABC Action News, Dennis Phillips live on the MJ Morning Show edition, 8:30 this morning. Greg D., also at ABC Action News, will call us this hour. So I will put Greg on whenever he phones, as long as it's not in the middle of a commercial break, or maybe I'll just break into the commercial break. But Dennis will be with us at 8:30. Greg D. will be with us scattered all throughout the morning with the latest on the track. And, that's where we are. We're just going to bring you a lot of information. We're going to take a lot of phone calls. We want to hear road reports in real time, traffic issues. We'll have you phone in. Tons of people going to be in their cars. Car listenership is going to be up dramatically because of so many people evacuating. I mentioned, what time is it? 6:10. And let me just get in the evacuation zones as I was mentioning a minute ago. So the evacuation zones, mandatory evacuations, Hillsborough County zones A and B. My house is an A. Pinellas County, mandatory evacuations A, B, and C. Manatee, zones A, B, C, and Anna Maria Island. Sarasota County right now is evacuation zones A and B. Pasco, zones A, B, and C. Hernando County, zones A, B, and C. Again, a lot of that is west of US 19. Citrus County right now, mandatory evacuations for mobile homes or manufactured homes. All right, just getting rolling. Do not miss a moment of the MJ Morning Show this morning with special Hurricane Milton coverage all morning long here on Q105, 104.7 FM. Shriner, what's up?
Some slow traffic from overnight volume as people continue to evacuate. There's slow traffic north.
Milton coverage is on the MJ Morning Show on 104.7 FM Q105.
At 6:19, MJ and the crew, Fester, Roxanne, Andrew in the booth, and we are in studio this morning here in St. Petersburg. We are in a level A evacuation zone. You know, the question is whether we are going to be allowed in studio tomorrow morning. I don't see why we would not be, because we're still looking at an event that would be really 18 hours away. So I'm pushing for us to be allowed in studio. I know that the iHeart folks, they were kicked out of their building yesterday. So they got tossed a bit of a curveball. So I don't know what the decision from corporate's going to be. There's a lot of discussion, obviously, about life safety, and I fully get that. That's why we have evacuations. But tomorrow morning, where we are for just broadcasting and information dissemination purposes, I think that we are fine to be in the studio tomorrow. Thursday morning or during the storm, that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but there's a whole discussion that's going on a corporate level, a programming level, a building management level. And as of yesterday afternoon, there were discussions about shutting our building down later tonight. And I think that would be a full 24 hours ahead, which probably is too early. So I'm gonna push for us to be here in studio live tomorrow morning. We get off the air at 10 o'clock or just before, and then that still should be plenty of time. Now, rain bands and wind will progress during the day, but I would imagine that morning drive, 6 to 10 tomorrow morning, we should be okay to be here. Oh, I just got word from Greg D. Greg D, ABC Action News, will join us at 6:39.
That's fantastic.
So Greg D, live from ABC Action News studios, which is on Himes in South Tampa, right across the street from the backside of Raymond James Stadium. That's where their studios are, if you don't know. He will join us at 6:39, which is about 20 minutes away, 19 minutes away, here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Now, I want to grab a lot of phone calls this morning. We want to hear about real-time traffic. I want to hear about gas. Where are you finding gas? So many stations just out of gas. And it's not like we don't have the gas in the Tampa Bay area. The issue is so many people are filling up that they're taxing the resources and bleeding the pumps dry, the tanks in the ground at the gas stations, and you just have to be able to replenish the gasoline in the ground tanks at the service stations. You got to be able, well, gas stations, there are no service stations anymore, are there? Anyway, so,
Really, no.
So
it's convenience stores with gas stations.
You have to be able to get those tanker trucks, and they hold, 7,500, 8,000 gallons or so. You got to be able to get those trucks just running just constantly to replenish the tanks in the ground at the gas stations because of the volume of people filling up their cars, their trucks. People also outside of the normal fill-up cycle, you've got tons of people topping off, whereas you've got empties and half-fulls that are filling, and then you've got people that have 3/4 of a tank or 7/8 of a tank, and they're just better top it off. So you've got just an overwhelming amount of people using the resources at the gas stations, and the trucks just have to be able to keep up. So we're getting a lot of gas stations with the no gas signs or the bags over the nozzles, etc.
A friend said he saw a tanker getting a police escort on 75.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit. And that's happened over the years on many storms, either the aftermath or the lead up. There have been many police escorts that have occurred, and I've seen the video. We've heard the stories to make sure that the gas can get to the facilities. But people that are evacuating and driving some distance, you got to make sure you have gas. So there's, gas tank anxiety. The deal is you don't have to evacuate far. You just got to get inland. So if you're in the evacuation zones, you don't have to drive to Georgia, all right? You don't have to drive to Jacksonville. You can just go inland if you've got friends in Plant City or something, or Dade City. Now, the inner counties, depending on where Milton makes its cut through the state, the inner counties are going to feel this. You're going to have hurricane conditions inside the interior of Florida and our interior counties.
Across the whole state.
But the evacuation is really for the storm surge in the evacuation zones. Now, granted, you've got wind velocity issues, but the storm surge is what's the deadliest. Depending on what data you look at, data compiled from the early 90s to 2012 had storm surge as the leading cause of death in hurricanes at over 50%, a little over. And then there's some new numbers that I've seen that of the last years that 90% of the hurricane storm deaths in the United States have been surge related. And I believe that. I think that is a much more accurate position, that 90% of the deaths occur from storm surge. So that's why you always hear that you hide from the wind and you run from the water. If I had $1 for every time Dennis Phillips from ABC Action News said that,
you'd have like $2,500.
Nope. I would be able to have bragging rights over Elon Musk, okay? As far as net worth.
Wow.
He does say it a lot, and he's right every time.
Hey, I got to tell you guys, did you notice yesterday we made some jokes in here? I did, being sarcastic about road rules being suspended during a hurricane.
Yeah, no, I wasn't joking. I wish you weren't joking.
And then they were, then they actually did that. because they allow the
well-
emergency shoulder use authorized for those vehicles evacuating Florida.
Yeah, that's a long way to get there. But hey,
No, listen, it's not.
right. Road rules are not suspended per se. They're allowing you to use the shoulder.
Of course.
I know.
No one ever thought that.
Yeah.
It was a sarcastic statement.
Nothing that the governor did yesterday was to encourage people to drive more recklessly.
No.
If anything, it's to help people get out a little more
Widen the
quickly.
road.
So there are areas where the shoulders are in use. And that's just gonna listen. If you've got a 4-lane highway and now you open up the shoulder, you've just increased the capacity by what, 20%?
The problem
Hey,
is that,
accountant over there, is that correct?
I mean,
I wasn't listening to you. I was just mad in my head about you. What
She's
was the
not
question?
doing-
You
she's
were
not
what?
I was just mad in my head about you. What did you say?
Okay, that's all right.
MJ, listen, the thing is with this interstate system, it goes from a really wide shoulder to a bridge
Yeah.
where the shoulder suddenly is 6 or 8 feet and then everybody has to merge back.
Right.
So, I mean,
So does that hamper
I
flow
don't
at some
know.
points? Yeah, you're right.
I drove over that Lake Panasofsky Bridge, like 3-mile bridge on I-75, I
Right.
think through northern Marion County.
Mhm.
And if I were on the shoulder, I'd get sucked back in, and it just seems like it's more traffic issues.
Right.
Just keep your head up and just drive safely.
Yeah. And, there's concern if people are driving on the shoulder, not everyone knows that is now permitted by
Yeah.
FHP and the Florida Department of Transportation in certain areas. And hopefully that doesn't encourage road rage where people are like, trying to ride from the right lane halfway onto the shoulder. You've seen that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where you've got the road warriors.
I'm that guy.
Yeah, the self-appointed traffic police, where if someone's trying to ride the shoulder, that you move the car over to try to block them.
That is me every time.
Well, folks, shoulder driving is permitted
funny.
in a lot of areas during the course of this evacuation.
Don't
Yes,
laugh at my real life, Roxanne. I'm really that guy. I'm the big
Yes,
prick that waits till the end to merge.
Andrew, you wanted to jump in?
Caller.
Oh, you want me to grab
Okay.
a call? Okay,
All right, Andrew, just chime in anytime.
All right. I got Tom calling in. All the lines are ringing. So
Hey, Tom.
Andrew wants me to take Tom on the road, I think on I-75 somewhere. Hey, Tom, where on I-75 are you?
I just passed State Road 54,
So you're going north?
going northbound, and there are people riding on the apron or out on the outside edge.
On the shoulder, yeah. So
How is
On the
traffic overall? Is it bumper to bumper?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So right now, I-75 northbound, State Road 54, you are bumper to bumper?
Yes, we are.
Now, what's your forward speed? What does your speedometer say right now?
10 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
Did you notice an increase in people using the shoulder after we mentioned it?
No, actually, before you mentioned it.
Okay, all right, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Tom.
a lot of people know the shoulder. Have you seen any of the road signs that say shoulder driving is permitted?
No.
Yeah, because I don't
It just
know.
says that- well, they do say that the trucks, the driving restrictions for trucks have been canceled, so they can use the left lane if they need to.
All right, so, because certain areas, trucks on the interstates can use the left lane, and some areas on the interstates, you've got left lane restrictions. So,
Correct.
but you're going 10 miles an hour.
Well, now we're up to about 25.
All right. Oh, hey.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
And
put me
Tom,
back in the seat.
what are you driving right now?
I'm driving a pickup truck. We're actually on our way up to the Port Richey area. We're doing cleanup up there.
Yeah, that was my question. Where are you going and why? So you're cleaning up to get debris out of the way?
That is correct.
So is it a number of you guys in pickup trucks, or what's the story?
I've got, one of my crew trucks is right in front of me, and we've got equipment on site that we were using yesterday when we were cleaning up.
Do you guys have dump trucks and claws to pick up stuff?
Front end loaders, backhoes, whatever. Yes,
Are you doing private, or are you working for the county?
working for the city.
For the city. So you're working for the city of Newport Richey as a private contractor to clear the Helene debris out of the way before Milton blows it all around.
Yes.
All right. Listen, thanks for getting your team out there, and thanks for working hard. Just, let's do the best we can cleaning things up.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Thanks. All right, 6:30 at the MJ Morning Show. So we're going to get reports all morning long. We'll do long phone segments. We'll get reports on where you can find gas now, where gas is out. We'll get traffic reports all during the morning show, not only from Shriner, but we'll also get traffic reports on the road from you as you're driving on the interstates, going wherever you're going, whether you're going to clean up like what Tom was just doing, or whether you're getting out of Dodge, so to speak. 6:31 at the MJ Morning Show. Greg D, ABC Action News, is going to join us live next. So don't move. Greg D, meteorologist, ABC Action News, will be with us in minutes here on the MJ Morning Show. The cake.
Weather Team brings you full Hurricane Milton coverage on 104.7 FM, Q105.
At 6:40 at the MJ Morning Show, I'm looking at the hotline, which also flashes this bright white light in here. Greg D. from ABC Action News will join us momentarily. In fact, he just went off, and they just went to a reporter in the field who's standing amongst roadside debris. My neighborhood, we still have stuff all over the place. I am told that City of Tampa will have our neighborhood cleared the best they can by around noon today, midday.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I drove up and down West Shore Boulevard yesterday.
Well, dude, you drove me home yesterday.
After that, I went down toward Gandy just to see the progress. Yeah. There are piles everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like hundreds of dump truck loads to clear just the stuff that I've seen. In front of one house that could be an entire truckload or more.
Or maybe two houses takes up a whole truck. And then a lot of the folks, they had to take out drywall, and it's been rained on 5 or 6 times since, and it's turning to like goop. And it's such a mess to pick up everything.
Yeah, and you've seen the progression. First, it was the furniture, the boxes, the belongings. Then you saw the carpet, the padding, the wood floors, and then, of course, the drywall. And I know exactly what you're talking about as far as drywall, because remember, I told the story yesterday that Chloe, myself, and Michelle, we were cleaning up this massive pile of stuff in our neighbor's driveway because their house is built at grade and they had flooding from Helene and they had, feet of drywall from the floor up taken out. And we were loading this dumpster up ourselves in the rain at 8 o'clock at night in the dark to get the stuff out of their driveway because it would be just flying debris and projectiles.
Oh, that was so nice.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a combination. It was help them out.
There's a little self-interest involved
but also help the neighbors out, because we've got a bunch of houses right nearby. We can't have their debris flying all over the place. So in all honesty, it was kind of a combo platter of, doing something nice for the neighbors, but also looking out for the neighbor, but also looking out for the rest of the neighbors and try to get as much debris out as possible.
Is that the same neighbor whose cars were floating?
Yes.
Oh.
So that's the neighbor. They had two cars, and there's a video on my Instagram from Helene where we had the nearly 7-foot storm surge in South Tampa. And remember, Helene was 108 miles offshore, whatever the actual number is, 108, 110, 105. And look at the storm surge that it brought. And again, the massive concern here is the storm surge, which could be 10 to 15 feet. So it could be double in the worst hit areas. Again, from landfall south, you could be looking at a 10 to 15-foot storm surge, which would put it at twice what we saw during Helene. And again, that's worst case scenario. And with Helene, the National Hurricane Center's predictions of worst case scenario, they almost came to fruition. Greg D., ABC Action News at 6:44, live with us here on the MJ Morning Show. Greg, just let us know when you have to roll back to TV.
Will do. I've got about 2 minutes.
All right, let's go. Just take it away.
All right, so the latest on Milton is it is still a strong Category 4. There has not been a ton of change in the track overnight, and any little nudges at this point, I just wouldn't read into them. It's not going to take the NHC track. It's not going to take any model track. It's going to do its own thing, and we'll just have to track it as it moves in. But all data still points to what we've been seeing the last several days. This thing is making landfall in our area Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. Now, that could still be the Bay. It could be points just to the south, but we're getting a hurricane tomorrow. This is happening, and you've got a full day today here to prepare for it.
Yeah, I filled sandbags yesterday, and I'll get into that story in just a bit. What about the southerly jog? I know you say that we're going to have these wobbles, but are the models still showing a little bit more of a southerly trend from the immediate mouth of Tampa Bay?
Yeah, if you would look at the model average, you would probably say the Hurricane Center is definitely north of that average with their track. They are very, explicitly in their updates saying that they're ignoring these. They're calling them just hurricane trackers. They're not calling them models, and they're saying no. They think it's going to stay a little farther north. Now, are they also doing that a little bit because they don't want this large population in Tampa Bay to, disregard the storm?
And that's one of the big questions, and I had numerous discussions. We brought this up on the air yesterday, that with the Hurricane Center putting that M for major hurricane essentially right over Tampa Bay, and Greg, you hit the nail on the head, are they trying to really send the message home that the largest population center of close to 3 million people take this seriously?
And that's the right call, because at this point they don't have enough data and enough confidence or track confidence to tell you that we're out of it. So let's just keep us in it so that everyone does not let their guard down. And I think that's the right way to do it. And MJ, the other thing I want to say is that if this thing does start getting sheared and the eye goes into Manatee County, I think some of the strongest winds could actually be in Pinellas and Hillsborough on the northwest side of the eye. Watch that northwest side of the eye tomorrow. This could be a surprise for some of us. St. Pete, Tampa, up into eastern Pasco County, we could actually see, now the surge won't be as big of an issue if it goes farther south, but the wind could be a real issue.
All right, and you're talking about where we could have a little bit of a collapse on the southern side, but the northern side, the top side of this could be strong, lower
Correct.
side getting sheared.
Yeah, actually, our high-resolution model picks up on this really well, and I'm about to go back on air. I'm going to go through this model hour by hour, and it draws it really well. The northwest side of the eye, as the southern eye, you're perfectly right, collapses, the energy moves to the north and west. All right, I'm 30 seconds away from gas. I'm going to call you back, guys, a little bit later this morning.
All right, call us in the 7 o'clock hour. Just give me a text and just call the hotline whenever you can.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks. Greg D, ABC Action News, and he got his 30-second warning, so he's going to pop on TV right now. Again, you've got models that are still running north. You've got models running in the center of Tampa Bay. You've got models that are running south. It looks like, what is this? What's the Zulu on this?
So Dennis Phillips posted this on his Facebook several hours ago, maybe 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. I don't know which one I'm looking at.
Yeah. Would that have been the, let me see,
I'm just looking for the Zulu. Okay, so it's, this is going to be, that's zero Zulu time. So that's, and Zulu is Greenwich Mean Time. So, again, a lot of in Dennis's guidance on this map that he posted of the spaghetti strands, a lot of the models are starting to coalesce a little further south of Tampa Bay, over Manatee, over Bradenton, for instance.
Like a Bradenton Parish area.
But again,
landfall.
Folks, this far out, you can't look at that. You can't say, oh, we're out of the woods. And you know what's driving people crazy? And Roxanne, I know that you've probably had conversations with people, and I'm sure you've been texting back and forth with friends. You get a report, oh, it's jogging north. Oh, it's jogging south. And people are like, I can't tell you the number of texts that I got yesterday with, oh, it's now moving more north.
Yeah, or as it was accelerating to a Cat 5 so quickly. Yeah, especially, I feel bad for the people. I have a lot of friends who've just moved to this area. And
From where?
I have friends who moved here from Chicago. I have friends who moved here from Boston. I have friends who moved here from Michigan. And 50% of them have fled, as they should, because they're in an evac zone B. And, we're sticking around as for right now because we haven't been told to evacuate. We don't have a mandatory. But, I get it. These are my friends with their families who have small children, and they're just trying to protect them.
Hurricanes are unique to the Gulf Coast and the southeastern region of the United States for how you stressfully handle them.
Yeah.
The anxiety of my friends who've moved here in the last 2 or 3 years is through the
exactly.
How do you people you see this coming a week away and you have nothing to do but stew in your fear?
It's not like a tornado, which you've got conditions that are ripe for tornadoes, but you look at some of those EF2s, 3s, and 4s, these massive tornadoes that whip up and just wipe huge swaths of a town off the map. Those things are sudden. Earthquakes, for instance, you look out in California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, earthquakes just can appear out of nowhere.
I think that's the worst. I mean, the earthquake scenario sounds the worst of all to me. And people in California are like, it's just an earthquake.
Exactly.
You feel the rumble.
Yeah, good analogy.
And here we have obviously days to prepare. And, I know we're in the moment now, and it's like, oh my God, here we go again. But for instance, I've been here 30 years. I've been, in the Tampa Bay area for 30 years, for the most part. And you look at the amount of time that you've had without hurricanes and storms, and it's the overwhelming percentage. But when you have a hurricane and you have a mass event like this, or the potential threat of this being the worst hurricane since 1921. Hey, folks, we had the worst hurricane since 1921 last week. And now a week later, we've got a new worst hurricane potential since 1921 and the no-name storm that hit in October of 1921, 103 years ago. Yes, Andrew?
An unanswerable question, though. If we didn't just have that last one, would we still be in the same mindset right now?
Yeah, with a Category 5 barreling at you in the West Coast, I would say yes.
We're just more beat down now.
Yeah, listen, we've been through, I mean, Roxanne's 100% right, is we are beat down because what we went through last week, that should be it for another dozen years. I mean, that should be our brush for a long stretch of time. And here we are a week later, and we're looking at an even greater potential threat. Now, the 5 a.m. advisory has this as a strong Category 4. And let me just take a look at the advisory at 5 a.m. Winds at 155, and you look at the hurricane scale, and Category 4 is 130 to 156. So it's only 2 miles away from being a Cat 5. So, to see, it's dropped down to a Category 4, big deal. I mean, you're 2 miles away from being a Category 5.
You know what I do observe as well, because I think back to when Charlie was coming toward us, and that was scary. I don't know the comparables as far as how big it was, et cetera. But I also remember that I was at Blue Martini that night, and then I had everybody come back to my house, and we had a big hurricane party. It was a totally different mindset and probably had something to do with my age, and I didn't have children. But I also do think this constant overload of information adds to our collective stress. Sometimes you have to just step away from it. Doug was like, I was up all night checking updates all night, and I go, just put it down and get some rest and then deal with it in the morning.
We will have Lee Burkaw on next. Lee Burkaw is the City of Tampa Police Chief. We'll get the latest on what's going on with TPD, evacuations, roads, concerns from Tampa Police. We'll talk to Lee Burkaw next here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. 6:50. All right, 7 o'clock exactly at the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Lee Burkaw, Chief of Police, City of Tampa, is available for us to talk to now. He texted me saying that he had a window open now. So let me get a hold of the chief. All right, Lee Burkaw, obviously TPD and all law enforcement agencies are gearing up on all fronts because of impending Milton. I think I dialed the right number. Yeah.
Chief Burkaw.
Chief, it is MJ live on 104.7 FM Q105. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right. State of the city of Tampa right now. What are the most important messages to get out?
Well, we see everybody taking heed to the message. You see the roads. People are evacuating. That's exactly what we want. And the big message is if you're going to stay in that evacuation zone during those high winds, during that flooding, I can't send my police officers in to help you. And I think everybody is hearing that message. There's a few out there that aren't. I went to Davis Islands yesterday, and I spoke to several elderly individuals who live in a flood zone who did not want to evacuate. So we're working on getting them out. So there's a few out there that aren't listening, but the majority of people are. But we have to make it very clear that during those peak storm surges and during those high winds, that we're not going to be able to send our police officers and first responders in to help.
And, you know, I saw that in our neighborhood during Helene just, last week. With the Tesla house fire that happened on Spanish Main in Beach Park, Tampa Fire tried to get into the neighborhood. They just could not get the fire trucks into the neighborhood. They just could not drive in. And, Chief, if you look at the deaths that we had, and I think the last number I heard from Helene, we had 12 deaths in the Tampa Bay area. There were 10 in Pinellas. We had 2 in Tampa. A lot of those were storm surge related, and the warnings now that worst case scenario that storm surge could be twice with Milton with what we had with Helene.
No, you're exactly right. And we even made attempts during Helene to do some evacuation and rescuing people. And at this point in this storm coming up, we're not even going to be able to attempt to make those attempts. So this is a much dire situation, and we need people. If they're on the fence, they need to leave. And I'm grateful to see all the traffic and everybody listening.
What are you seeing traffic-wise? Obviously, 275 through West Shore and downtown has been snarled as people are trying to get to I-75, I-4. For the most part, have there been any traffic issues of note or any problems, or are you happy with the way that people are behaving?
So far, it seems okay. The Suncoast Parkway heading north out of Tampa wasn't as packed as I thought it would be, but it's still early. Yesterday, there was at least a 2-hour delay going north through the Suncoast and through 75.
How many total officers in TPD?
I have 1,000, and all 1,000 will be here today.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I'm sure you've got all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. We have all our assets, all our boats, our marine, air service, all secured. And then when the storm's over, then we're going to come out and do our assessments and do our recovery efforts.
During the height of this, and we're expecting this again tomorrow evening into the overnight hours tomorrow, where do you and your team stay? Where are you physically going to be as chief of police?
I'll probably be at multiple locations, but my primary location will be the City Emergency Operations Center. And I'll move back and forth from Raymond James Stadium. I have a lot of my assets and police officers staged there, and then other remote areas throughout the city.
Right. A lot of folks don't know this, but TPD and Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office will stage equipment underneath Ray J because you've got large drive-in areas, and it's really just a giant chunk of concrete. And I don't know if you know this, but is Raymond James in a D zone or a C zone?
I'd have to look it up, but I want to say a D.
Yeah, I think
it's typically farther south.
Yeah, I think it's a D. I think you're right. Chief, listen, anything you need, any messages you need to get out, just text me. We'll get you on immediately. Any issues with any arguments? I know that some things are getting tense at gas stations. We have some gouging reports. We've got places that are saying no credit cards, cash only. Have you had any issues with retail and people prepping?
You're starting to see that. You see the tensions, and it's evolving into it. I haven't had any major fights or disturbances, but you can definitely feel the tension. And we just need everybody to be very patient, take a deep breath, and we'll get through this together.
You know, one of the things, and I know this is not your department, but we still have so much debris. The house debris in Beach Park, and you know essentially where I am, but off of West Shore in the Beach Park area, the amount of debris that still remains uncollected is just unbelievable. It's my understanding that there's going to be a massive effort in South Tampa today. Are you hearing anything about debris? Because listen, Chief, folks, we're on the phone with Lee Burkhaw, the Chief of Police City of Tampa. If we have debris that's strewn all over the place on top of whatever debris might be created by Milton, that's going to hamper emergency efforts once the storm passes.
Well, and even during the storm, it hampers our efforts. But, you know, it's debris everywhere. I've seen it in all the counties throughout the Tampa Bay area, Pinellas, Pasco. It's everywhere, and it's just so much of it that no matter the resources we get, it's just next to impossible to get it all up before the storm.
You know, I had spoken with neighbors and my family, and I was like, this is going to take a month or more to pick up all this debris, and to try to do it in days is a Herculean effort.
It is. And then after the storm, it's going to just catapult that to areas we've never seen before. You talk about, I've been in here in the Tampa Bay area for 53 years, my entire life, and I've never seen anything like this.
All right. Well, again, let's hope for and this is so tough. Let's just hope for a track. And it pains me to say this. Nobody wants it on top of, and this is just human nature, and it's reality that everyone wants it to go somewhere else, but that somewhere else obviously affects other people as well. And I'm very conscious and sympathetic. You know, some of the modeling, does push it a little further south, but the impacts we have to plan as if it's going to just run straight up Tampa Bay, right through the city of Tampa, right over, Pinellas County, Hillsborough. That's the way we have to plan, and we're not going to know until this verifies. But you can't operate on a hope. You've got to operate on the best available science that we have right now. Lee Burkhaw, Chief of Police City of Tampa. Chief, we're available all morning long. Just hit me up if there's anything else that comes to your attention that we need to get on the air.
All right. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you. All right, Lee Burkhaw. And listen, he's doing a great job as Chief of Police. And you heard what he said. They've got about 1,000 officers for the city of Tampa. And everybody is called in. So you're going to have all units on the road. I've seen an increased presence, obviously, trying to keep the peace. keep traffic flowing. And you got every single officer on the road. All right, 7:09 at the MJ Morning Show with our complete Hurricane Milton coverage. A little later on, I want to get into the Dennis Phillips list. ABC Action News Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips has a long list of just all of his recommendations and suggestions, but I probably need 10 minutes to go over this list.
Yeah, I saw the list over the weekend, and some of the things I would never have thought of, and I'm going to be implementing them today.
Yeah. So we will go over the Dennis Phillips list later this hour. So certainly in the 7 o'clock hour, I will go over the Dennis Phillips list. Now, I-4, you want me to grab that? All right, Andrew's in my ear. Let me grab Peter on I-4 calling, and we're going to take a ton of phone calls, folks. If you want to get in, 800, and I haven't even given out the phone number this morning, and the phones have just been rolling in. If you want to give us any reports, gasoline reports, where is there gas? Where has gas been out? Any traffic reports as you leave the area during an evacuation? Any aspect of this, you can give us a buzz here on the MJ Morning Show at 800-990-1047. That's 800-990-1047. Peter is eastbound on I-4. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. How are you, MJ?
Doing fine. Where on I-4 are you?
Just about exit 10 in Mango.
All right, so the Mango exit.
Yeah, exit 10.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what is it looking like? Describe the traffic you're in right now.
It's starting to pick up, doing about 25, 30 miles an hour. People are taking advantage of the left lane, the left shoulder.
So you're seeing the left shoulder?
Yes.
What about the right shoulder? Are they driving on all shoulders?
No, just the left side. The overhead signs only say the left shoulder.
Gotcha.
And that's what people are doing. And I live down by you in West Shore, too. I know you were talking about it a minute ago. I have no idea how they're going to get all that stuff off the side of the road by this evening.
Yeah, I think it's an impossibility. They need to work just round the clock if they can. I hope the city of Tampa was successful, Peter. We had Mayor Castor on yesterday, and let me go back to her text because I have the phone number, and I'm sure they're happy to hire you today. If you're a contracting business, if you have dump trucks and front end loader capability, but especially the claw, the city of Tampa will hire you right now. You can go to work immediately, and I would imagine that they will allow companies around the clock if you can get going, shortly. If you are a company, if you're a contract hauler, especially large trucks with the pickup claw, you can go to work for the city of Tampa right now and get paid, and they will dispatch you to the areas that need to be cleared. But, Peter, you're 100% right. As you drive up West Shore in Beach Park, and the amount of debris on my streets, it is.
Over,
we're talking about hundreds of dump truck loads full to clear this stuff.
Refrigerators, appliances, everything. Yeah. Drywall, so much drywall.
Guess what? I saw more debris yesterday that I didn't even see earlier in the day and the day prior. So more debris is being put out. I got to be honest. With Milton, keep the debris in your house. Don't put more debris out. Just leave the.
I think it's almost impossible to get it all.
I think you're right, Peter. I hate to say this, but Peter, I think you're 100% right. That I don't know how they're going to get all this debris. Let me give the phone number here. So for those that are contract haulers, if you've got if you have large dump trucks, if you've got the claw.
No, you need a business license and insurance.
Well, here's the deal. Yeah, so you need you need to be licensed and insured.
You got to be a real business.
Yes, licensed and insured. Again, if you've got the trucks with the claw, the city of Tampa will hire you. Call 813-417-2634. That's 813-417-2634. And I'll give out the number again. If you didn't get it, you want to call in, we'll give you the number. So, Peter, where are you headed before I grab more calls here?
Heading up to Jacksonville.
Why so far?
I really have nowhere else to go. And after the last storm with the storm surge, I live on West Shore Boulevard at the Del Mar. I can't do that again.
Where are you on West Shore? At the Del Mar.
Del Mar.
Oh, so right, just down from the Green Iguana.
right on the bay. So I'm not doing that again.
Wow. So you're right next to the old furniture store that was right next door to that complex.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. It's now, I think, a church. All right. Thank you, Peter. Thanks for checking
All right,
in.
thank you.
All right. Let's grab, how about Ken? I don't know where Ken's is.
He's in New Tampa.
All right. So he's on Bruce B. Downs. All right. Ken, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi, Ken.
Hey, how you doing? Northbound, if you get off on Bruce B. Downs, the mobile station is pretty late. It has gas. The Walmart is open and has a long line.
All right. So they do have gas, though. So you're saying the mobile station at Bruce B. Downs exit. So this is off of
75?
Off of 75 and Bruce B. Downs?
Right. The mobile station coming north on the left is open, and the Walmart is open, but has a long line.
All right. Good report, Kenny. Did you fill up at Mobile, or you just drove by?
Well, I filled up at the mobile and then I come north, and I looked at Walmart, and they had a long line at Walmart.
You know, MJ,
but nobody pretty much at the mobile station there.
Wow. All right. So what? Just out of curiosity, what is the price of regular? Do you know at the Mobile?
$3.09.
Yeah, that's
and
not.
At Walmart, I believe it's a little cheaper.
Yeah, so Walmart typically is probably going to be $2.99. I'm going to guess at Walmart. Hey, 10 cents a gallon. If you can get gas at that mobile station right now at Bruce B. Downs,
Go for it.
And avoid the Walmart line for 10 cents more, go get the gas over there.
A 20-gallon tank is $2 you're saving. People get the gas.
Fill your tank up.
So MJ, the thing is,
Kenny, thank you, buddy.
I drove up and down Dale Mabry a couple times
That's
yesterday.
a good report, by the way. That's the stuff we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Walmart. I like the prices at Walmart. Remember, I scanned the pump and I saved 10 cents a gallon. But listen, right now, get the freaking gas.
So I drove up and down Dale Mabry. The Sam's Club in North Tampa had such a gas line that it slowed down traffic. On Dale Mabry.
Dude, the gas line on a Saturday morning at 10:30 on a regular Saturday morning at Costco, or Sam's Club could be crazy.
Right, but that's generally confined to their parking area.
Okay, all right,
but this was down. I mean, it was a half a mile down before you got to the Sam's. I'm like, what's going on here? And they're all just sitting there waiting for gas. I'm like, gosh, I hope they get it.
All right, Kevin is up in Sumter. I've got Danielle. I got Scott. I got Kim. Everyone, listen. Hold on. Let me take my quick break here. I don't want to get too late. Let me take a quick break. If you're on hold, Kevin, Danielle, Brent, Scott, Kim, and everyone, hang on. We're coming right back to phones after the break. Also, Greg D., ABC Action News, will join us again this hour. Dennis Phillips live at 8:30 this morning. So Dennis, Chief Meteorologist, ABC Action News, will be on us at 8:30 this morning, so make plans for that. Phones, back to your calls next here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Hey, my friends at Banco Overhead Doors are here to help.
Q105.
It is 722. MJ, Fester, Roxanne, Andrew. We are in studio here in St. Pete, 4th and Gandy, and we are in an A zone. We are live in studio, hoping to be in studio again tomorrow because it really gives us enough time to do the morning show and then get out of here tomorrow. At least that is the plan. So we will let you know exactly what's going on. I filled up 150 sandbags with my new buddy Willie yesterday. Wait. I personally, with Willie, who I picked up on a side street next to Home Depot.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I swear. And when this is all done, I've got to tell the Willie story. In fact, maybe I'll even get Willie on the show to talk about this. I've got a new buddy. Willie has a story like no other. Literally. I went to Home Depot to get a few things. I had tons of sandbags, a lot of sandbags. So I had my own bags. I just needed to fill them. And, when you go to the city sites, you have obviously a limitation. And I needed a lot of sandbags for my house. And I went to a place called Horizon. Fester, look it used to be another name, but right on Northdale, Mabry, and Lambright.
Yeah, that gravel pit.
It's the gravel, exactly.
Yeah, it's in a little bit. It's behind like the CVS or something.
Yeah, but it's right behind the McDonald's is also right there as well.
Yeah.
So there's like a gravel yard, and they have like mounds and mounds of clean beach sand. And I bought 3 yards of sand, and that's it's a good chunk. It's about 6,000 pounds of sand.
That's a lot of sand.
So I bought 3 yards of sand. I'll tell the whole story. I want to go back to phones.
How much is 3 yards of sand?
Like $250 or something.
That's not a lot.
Yeah.
I was thinking it'd be more.
We filled up all the bags because Michelle calculated that she wanted 133 sandbags for our house. We went around all our French doors, all the locations to try to protect you're not going to protect, 5, 6, 7 feet. We're looking for like 1 extra foot of protection.
Oh my God, I need 17 bags. So that works out perfectly. You have 133, I need 17, and you filled 150. That's awesome.
Perfect.
I might have 157.
What?
All right, I don't know.
I love that she came up with 133.
Yeah. We walked around the house and we figured, building us up to about a foot. My house, my first floor is at 11 feet 3 inches, and FEMA updated my street to an A12 flood zone a couple of years back. So if I can just buy an extra foot, and that's what we're doing, I've got rolls and rolls of Visqueen, 6 mil heavy stuff. We're putting that around the door frame with overlap and building the sandbags in, according to spec. So if I can just get, a couple of inches or a foot,
it might all make a really big difference.
That could make a difference. It's not going to help you with 2, 3, 4 feet. It's not going to help. But if you can just have a little extra headroom, if you need it for a couple of inches up to a foot, that's what we're looking at.
I got to admit, I'm surprised you haven't bought the Tampa General Aqua Wall.
Oh, my God.
I know. Can we just get an aqua wall that's like a barrier around our whole coastline? I mean, if the technology is there to do it, I mean,
Horizon Stone Supply is where you went.
Yeah, so I went to Horizon Stone Supply, and it's right at Lambright. You got Pinecrest one way, and then you have Lambright the other way, and it's literally you turn on Lambright, and it's right there on the left, and you can't miss it.
Now, do they have sandbags?
Yeah, here's the deal: they were selling pre-filled sandbags. The line was over an hour wait yesterday, so they were selling pre-filled sandbags. Or you can go back in the yard and they'll get a little loader and they'll pick out your yards, whatever you want, half yard, 1 yard, 2 yard, and they'll dump it on a concrete pad. And that's what I did with Willie.
And you got to move it.
Yeah. And I'll tell the story later on. Just remind me, Andrew, to go back to my sandbag and picking up Willie off the side of the road. And I mean, what a story Willie's got as well. But we did 150 plus sandbags in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
You and Willie are the go-team.
But there's a secret there's a quick way to do it. And Michelle found YouTube videos, and that's why I went to Home Depot. All right, let me go back to phones. thank you for holding. We are jammed, obviously, with calls. Let me grab Kevin. Kevin's up in Sumter County.
That's an important county,
It
MJ,
is.
because if you're evacuating, if you're not to Sumter yet, you will be soon.
Yeah. So
Hopefully.
if you are, Fester, you're 100% right. If you're evacuating Manatee,
Northbound.
if you're evacuating Sarasota, Manatee, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Citrus. Well, maybe not as much Citrus, but I should say Pasco and Hernando. And if you're getting onto I-75, that is a really significant corridor once you get up towards Sumter. Kevin, welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Hey, MJ, this is your village's truck driver. I am sitting in the parking lot at work looking at 75 right in front of me.
Yep.
I live in Lower Marion County, just below Ocala. The highway is bumper to bumper from at least where I got on all the way down past Bushnell, which would be exit 314 exit 314. It's bumper to bumper, barely moving. And the shoulders are not open in Sumter County and Marion County right now for emergency travel. So you cannot use the shoulders. The signs still say emergency use only. And all the gas stations along through here on the edge of the highway are out of gas.
Oh, my God. All right. So hold on. This is
anyone heading this way should fill up before you get on the highway. The back roads around here are getting just as backed up as the highway. Stay on the highway where you know where you're going, and that's probably just your best bet.
All right. So stay on 75. Yeah, I'm looking at the live traffic map right now, and it looks like around Lake Panasofsky. Yeah, so south of Panasofsky on 75 north, all the way up to the Turnpike intersection around Wildwood. It looks like it is just solid red, bumper to bumper up there.
Oh, it's past that. I got on my exit 10 miles north of there, and it was already backing up.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
So it just hasn't caught up yet. Y'all just be careful. They're keeping us off the road here at the Village's Daily Sun. He's taking care of us.
All right.
I have accounts to deliver to down there. You guys stay safe. God bless you.
Thank you, Kevin.
MJ,
we'll talk to you afterward.
Look at the interstate from Sumter County, Lake Panasofsky. It's red over that bridge that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's
earlier.
what I said. So south of Lake, but then
it's yellow all the way up almost to Gainesville.
Yeah. So once you get
certainly through Ocala,
right? Yeah. Once you get past Wildwood, where the Turnpike comes in, where the Turnpike meets I-75. Then you get out of the red, but then you get into yellow.
Which is still very slow conditions compared to what you're used to on the interstate.
All right. So, folks, just be patient. And, again, make sure you have gas because, the places that are going to run out very quickly are going to be the stations right off the exits, off of the major evacuation arteries. Back to phones. That just opened up a line. Well, it's already ringing. But, folks, try to get in 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. Whatever reports, where are you in the Tampa Bay area? What can you tell us about traffic, gas, supply gathering? You should really be totally set in stone. Everything you need and everything that you are hoping to accomplish should be, well, it should have been done already. With this thing headed our way, I realize that, looking back is not very helpful. But, a lot of people started prepping, Saturday and Sunday, yesterday, Monday. Today is our last full day to get prepped.
Hey, you know what? There are a lot of people who have jobs that they are, a lot of places are off work, but there are plenty of people in healthcare and industries where they have to be at work every day, and they may not have had time to prep
I
yet.
was at the Publix yesterday. I'm like, this is fully staffed. When are these people going to be getting ready?
No, it's a very good point. Both of you guys, very good point. Brent on I-4. Brent, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Good morning, MJ.
Yes, Brent. Where on I-4 are you?
Actually, I'm wasn't too far behind Peter when he called, but I'm coming up. I'm over here at Park Road in Plant City, heading eastbound, and it's starting to come to a standstill almost. I'm barely moving along now.
All right, so you're in Plant City at Park, I-4 eastbound, and it's almost a standstill.
Yeah, it was moving along pretty good, but now it's people are using the shoulder, and it's coming to a pretty much a standstill. It's moving along, creeping along. But the reason I called was I leave out of Lakeland and I go to Tampa Airport in the morning. And when I left on Memorial Boulevard in Lakeland, I saw, some like a state trooper or something with lights on driving. And behind him was a tanker fuel truck. And I thought, he's maybe getting an escort. And then I saw that 3 other times on the interstate, there was a fuel truck driving and it had like a police escort. But then I just saw a Love's one and it didn't have one. So I don't know, but.
Yeah, some of the tankers will have escorts. I guess it's according to the resources that are available. But in order to get these tankers to gas stations, yes, you will see police or Florida Highway Patrol escorts helping these tractor trailers lugging the fuel to the gas stations.
Yeah, maybe the Love's one without the escort might have been an empty or something.
Yeah, maybe.
That's true.
All right. Hey, Brent, thank you. Good point, Fester. 800-990-1047. Oh, look, Kim. Is that kidney transplant Kim? Oh, wow. Kim, good morning. Welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Kim, we had Kim on, what, a month ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Kim, we were trying to help you find a kidney. And Kim, is it true you found a kidney?
No, I haven't found one yet. But
Okay.
I do have somebody going through the process for the exchange.
Oh, okay. I got some wrong information. I thought that you had the transplant. Oh, so you didn't have the transplant.
not
Okay.
yet. No,
All right. So, Kim, you evacuated the Tampa Bay area, right?
I did at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Where did you go?
Still driving.
Oh, you're still driving. Where are you right now?
I'm on I-65 in Nashville.
Holy crap! You really evacuated.
Yeah. We planned on going to my brother's in Nashville just because we didn't want to, deal with power outages for a length of time.
Kim, so you left 1 p.m. yesterday. Did you have trouble getting gas along the way?
We didn't. We had filled up at the racetrack on Line Ball. They only had premium left, so we grabbed that.
Yep.
And then we stopped at Jasper, I believe it was. Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, Kim, do me a favor. Kim, stay safe.
Jasper, Florida.
And I hope that this kidney that you're looking at, I hope it comes to fruition, all right?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Kim, thanks for
Take
checking
care,
in.
Kim.
Let's grab Scott in South Tampa. Scott, you're on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Hi, Scott.
Hey, MJ.
Welcome. What's up?
Just calling to let you know that there are sandbags available at the YMCA on McDill.
Yeah, but here's the deal. You get
hold on. YMCA on Himes?
On Himes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not
Yeah.
Yeah, the South
You're
Tampa
correct.
YMCA.
Yeah, on Himes.
But there's a limit of 10. I saw that there's a limit of 10, and there's a pretty substantial line there, I would imagine, right about now, right?
The line is going up to Euclid and up towards Dale Mabry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very
One
large line.
secret to that, if people are staying, and if once they close at 7 o'clock, it's open for people who are scooping their own sand if you're still in town, which I'm going to be and I'm staying. And last night we were scooping sand for people, who can, and you can scoop your own.
Yeah, the pile of sand is still there. Now, did they finally get sand? Because over the weekend they had dirt on Sunday.
No, they had sand. I was helping scoop sand, volunteering yesterday for a couple hours, and then came afterwards last night around 8 o'clock and scooped our own sand for us and other people. And it's open now with a whole bunch of sand. I just picked up 10 more bags.
All right, Scott, where are you in South Tampa? Where's your house?
Lois, Henderson area. We're in a B. And we've even with Helene, we never flooded. We're not as close at Spanish Main as you are, obviously, to the water. And even with Helene, we didn't flood. And, my girlfriend's a deputy, so she can't leave. So we're staying there.
Gotcha. All right, Scott, I wish you the best because for Hillsborough County,
B is
you're looking. Yeah, A and B are mandatory evacuation zones for Hillsborough County, including South Tampa. So if you're in a B zone, you realize that you are in an evacuation zone.
We do, but again, she's a deputy and she's not allowed. She's got to work.
Oh, listen, so she's a HCSO.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so listen, we spoke to Lee Burkhaw, Chief of Police, City of Tampa, about 35 minutes ago. They have 1,000 officers in the city of Tampa, and every single deputy is on the road. Every single every single police officer rather for the city of Tampa. And I got to imagine, and I'm gonna get Chad Chronister on this morning, Sheriff Hillsborough County, and I'm sure they have every single deputy like your girlfriend on the road. Hey Scott, thanks for checking in. I appreciate it.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck to you too. All right, that opens a line 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. Hoping to get Greg D on in just a bit. He's on TV right now. Let me, Phil, just 10 seconds. Let me send Greg a message.
And when Greg calls in, MJ, obviously we'll take him immediately.
Yep.
Yeah. Last caller, evacuation zone B. That's a that's a low-lying area. I mean, it's
lowest. I mean, if you get a category 3 right on top of us, I don't think a B zone is going to do necessarily. But he says they haven't flooded.
Okay.
But again, the wind velocity and the storm surge, which could be twice that as Helene. All right, back to phones.
Pick up Anel.
Where do you want me to go?
Line 1.
All right, Mango Sefner is where Anel is. Anel, welcome to the MJ Morning Show on 104.7 FM Q105.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to say the amphitheater, that field that's empty next to them, they are dumping a lot of the debris that are there. I just saw it this morning. I saw a pile of debris there.
Oh, so the state fairgrounds, that's an open field dumping the debris.
Hold on, Anel, hang on a minute. I think Greg D's calling in right now.
That's good information, Anel.
Hold on, Anel. Greg D, ABC Action News. Is this you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
All right. Just saw you on TV. You were looking. The last thing I saw you on TV doing, you were standing in front of all of the spaghetti models. What were you saying?
Yeah. Well, I was basically saying that, when you look at that map and you're so close to landfall and every model is in a different track, with the Hurricane Center roughly in the middle, you got to figure that if we go through today, there are not going to be major changes to this track. I really don't see that. Now, could it be adjusted? Sure. There are wobbles? Sure. But is this thing going to make a turn towards the Big Bend or head towards South Florida? That is unlikely. I think all things are pointing this is still basically on track with the forecast.
All right. On track with the forecast. They're putting it essentially over Tampa Bay, but some of the modeling does put it south. Listen, we're not going to hold you to this, Greg. What is with the modeling that you see? And again, we talked earlier about the Hurricane Center, obviously trying to make the biggest impact over the largest population area. But what is your best guess? And granted, we're still, 36 hours out here. What is your best guess? Do you think it does push south, or do you want to offer up any idea?
If you were to make me say where it was going to go, I guess I would definitely focus on Manatee County. There's one model that the Hurricane Center uses. It's called the HAFS. It's an experimental model, so they're not really focusing much with it in terms of its
generated model.
No, so that's a different one. It's a European one. So this is a model where they basically draw a square around a storm, and the square is very high resolution. It's updated hourly. The forecast is updated hourly versus every 6 hours, and it's very high res. And it basically follows the storm in its path. It's just forecasting for the storm itself. They've developed this new model. It does very well, and it's the only model that got that pressure right yesterday. It was the only model that had the pressure below 900 millibars, which seemed wild, but it nailed it. And it was pretty close. It's very close on the track as well. It definitely does better than the GFS, and it's done better in its testing than the Euro. That model does bring it into southern Pinellas County.
And so southern Pinellas meaning
south of Indian Rocks.
Right. And that's not a good scenario.
Yeah.
That's not a good scenario at all. These models also keep it a little stronger. Now, I am definitely doubtful of that. The intensity of this, I think, will be dropping. I really find it hard, at this point at least, find it hard to believe that it will be, let's say, a 4 or even a very strong 3. I would think it'd be mid to low level 3 at the strongest end, probably a strong. But even with that, now remember, MJ, when you see the maximum sustained winds, those are only at the very beginning of the eye wall, right near the eye. Even if this thing makes landfall in southern Pinellas County, those maximum sustained winds would only be felt south of Clearwater, and probably not even as far south as Bradenton. Now, a wider stretch of winds of 75 to, let's say, 100 miles per hour. those would be more common, places like Tampa or maybe down toward Bradenton. And then once you get out of Hillsborough and Pinellas County, if it were to make, again, landfall, southern Pinellas, even northern Manatee, once you get out of these counties around the bay, you're not going to see hurricane force winds.
All right, so let me just backtrack for a second. The experimental model, which nailed the barometric pressure, has a track in southern Pinellas, but your consensus with all the modeling, you think that a Manatee track is a better
Now, when I say
guess?
When I say Manatee here, I'm saying more like Anna Maria or Bradenton, which, I mean, you can see Pinellas County from there.
Right.
So, and then remember, when I say landfall, it's the center of the eye. If the eye is 25 miles wide at the point of landfall, it's possible that, let's say, Anna Maria is the center of the eye, but the northern eye wall is in Pinellas County.
Right.
Right. So the point of landfall is just one point. The storm is much larger than that point, and so is the eye. So we would have multiple communities in the eye wall as it's moving in.
What if you have the eye sitting right over Anna Maria, which really is right at the mouth of Tampa Bay? What does that do for storm surge in the bay?
Wow, does that make it complicated? Because then you have all kinds of forces on the water in the bay. I would think that there would be a heavier surge in the southern and eastern parts of the bay, and then a lower surge, definitely a lower surge, once you get up toward Oldsmar and Safety Harbor, because if they're outside of the outer, even if they're in the eye wall or just outside of the eye wall, they've got a strong northeast wind. You could get water rises in places like Shore Acres, because then the wind would be blowing the bay toward land and into St. Pete. And on the eastern side of the bay, the wind would be pushing the water into the rivers of Hillsborough County. So you're watching for Apollo Beach, Parrish, over towards Riverview, obviously, the same areas that got hit by
the AI Euro model. What is that telling us?
I looked at that this morning.
Yep.
That is actually a little south. It's a little south, and it is a little south of the regular Euro too. And I don't know enough about this model, but if it is modeling just based on history and past events, I do question how its accuracy, just because is it taking into account the current weather setup as well? Is it weighing history too much? Because the weather setup around the storm is very unique. So I don't know whether that's necessarily, the best way to go with this one. This is not your classic. If this was August and we had a hurricane moving in, well, then the weather situation around this storm is much easier to forecast. We don't get any fronts. We don't get the jet stream, no upper level winds. It's a much more simpler forecast. Once you get into September, October, especially, these storm systems that were to the north of us all summer start getting a lot closer, and it does create a much more complex weather pattern.
Greg, I have two questions for you. First thing, as it relates to the storm surge, and we talk about how those who are south and at the point of impact are going to be most affected. But you just started to hit on some complexities of the way the bay works, because of our topography there. But I'm just picturing this is moving at an northeastern direction. So if you're picturing, okay, wherever it hits, it's going to draw a straight line across the state. That's not the case. It's going to kind of, at this point, we're seeing it's going to swoop up a little bit. Is that a accurate thought?
Yes. So the track is kind of southwest to northeast or northeast. So if you kind of look at, if you kind of think of I-4 as that swoop, I think it would be kind of that shape generally. And this is where it is complicated because, even if the storm goes just south of the bay, there is still a little push of water ahead of that eye.
Right.
And once that water enters the bay, it has nowhere to go. And it sloshes around inside of the bay like you would see sloshing inside of a tub. The bay is a giant tub. So it is complex. And I don't know whether we have the technology to model that correctly, especially since we've never seen it here before.
Right. Okay, so my next question for you has to do with timing. I know it's impossible to be like, yes, this is where it's going to hit X amount of days out and hours out. But do you feel more confident? And I think the answer is yes, but talking about the timing of, number one, when we're going to feel winds, and number two, the timing at which we would anticipate that surge.
Yes, I do. And that's because, you really are narrowing the landfall time now to probably within a couple of hours, around midnight or maybe just after. That's also the time of high tide. So I think the two coinciding there kind of makes us think that is going to be the surge. The surge is going to happen in the middle of the night.
All right, and then where's our tides in the middle of the night?
I don't have them pulled up right in front of me. I would have to check.
Because that also, obviously low tide with a surge is much better than, a slack or a high tide.
And especially if for communities, we're talking about the bay, and you're talking about a landfall a little bit south of the bay, with the surge being lower, then yes, with lower surge, tides become more of a factor. With a higher surge, the tides are obviously not as impactful.
Right.
Is going to be the way to think about that.
And I'm sorry, Greg, when can we expect those winds to start? Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure. So the strongest winds start coming in. So regular tropical storm force winds, so winds over 40, start approaching the coast midday tomorrow. I think the strong winds that you really associate with a tropical system moving through, that's probably after 6 p.m. But once that happens, because the center is headed towards us, you're talking about a very rapid ramp up in those winds. And the heaviest of the winds would be 10 p.m. until the center passes by you. And once the center passes by you, then the winds slack off quite a bit.
Okay.
So the whole event, we're looking for, listen, obviously tomorrow, rain bands and wind will begin and progressively get worse in the afternoon into the evening. And then we're looking at the stronger winds after 6 p.m. and then the heaviest, what do you think, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., 3 a.m.?
Yeah. And if the landfall obviously is at 2 a.m., then it's going to be until 3 or 4 a.m. Now, those winds will spread inland, but they will also weaken quickly as they do. So really anyone, even into Polk County, Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands, depending on where the track is, you're still in wind. Pasco County, absolutely. But the strongest winds are going to be at the coast right around that landfall time. I've got the tide pulled up for Clearwater Beach, by the way, out in front of me here. It's about the same as it is in St. Pete. St. Pete is around midnight.
Yep.
Looks like Clearwater is about 3 in the morning, but it's a long high tide. That difference between the tide at midnight to 3 a.m. is really not that much.
Okay.
So for most of us, we're going to be in a high tide cycle or close to it right around the landfall.
All right, Greg, one other thing, the timing on the storm, when we look back over the last couple of days, it was going to be 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. Then it went to 1 p.m., then 4 p.m., and now we're looking at later in the evening, midnight tomorrow. What are the chances that timing changes again?
Well, the chances for that go down, because even a change in forward speed of 1 mile per hour, when you're 100 hours from landfall, 1 mile per hour means 100-mile difference in the position 100 hours from now. When you're 36 hours from landfall, that 1 mile per hour change in speed only makes the position different by about 36 hours. So these differences are going to start to shrink. As you get closer to landfall, the cone starts to narrow. Yeah. The time of landfall starts to become more and more confined to a smaller time period. And then you're really just looking at, okay, where is the center going to track? Because obviously the landfall is also related to the shape of our coast, right? If it makes landfall in Manatee County, that's Anna Maria, where it sticks out into the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to be an earlier landfall. But if it makes some crazy, not a crazy turn, still a possible farther north loop, let's say towards Hernando County pulls away from Milton. The state is narrower in that location. It's going to take longer for it to reach that place, so the landfall would be later.
All right, Greg, last question. What is the right now? We're waiting for the 8 a.m. intermediate advisory. I keep refreshing, and I don't see the intermediate is still on the 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Still, what is the margin of error? What is the mileage width of margin of error right now?
Let me actually look that up for you because I don't have it off the top of my head.
Are we still around 100 miles margin of error, or
no,
is that?
we're less than 100 miles. We are less than 100 miles by now. Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have that pulled up for me. There's. I don't want to quote you the wrong.
That's okay. That's all right.
Information.
Understand.
But it's definitely going to be under 100 miles. I believe off the top of my head it's going to be closer to 60 miles at this point.
On the margin of error. Greg, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, the effort. I've got Dennis on at 8:30 this morning, so if you can text me all of your availability. If you want to comment just after 8, if you have time before Dennis, if you want to comment on the 8 a.m. intermediate, just give me a text.
I will do my best. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you. Greg D., meteorologist, ABC Action News, at the studios off of Himes right now. I just got word that Sheriff Chronister might be calling us any second. Let me just send the text that we're open now.
You know, it's funny, like Dennis gets all the glory sometimes.
He's
because
the chief meteorologist.
Right, he's the chief, as he should.
He's the boss. He's the boss of all the.
Right, as he should. But Greg is just a great member of the team, and he explains things really well.
No, Greg's been phenomenal. His access has been tremendous, and Greg has been fantastic as well. Dennis Phillips will join us at 8:30. So we're a little over half an hour away from Dennis Phillips. Sheriff Chad Chronister, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, phoning in right now. Sheriff, welcome back to the MJ Morning Show.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning, everyone.
Sheriff, we had Lee Burkaw, Chief of Police City of Tampa, on about 50 minutes ago. He's got every single officer out. He's got 1,000 officers in. I got to believe that your resources are about the same at the HCSO.
Yeah, even more. Remember, they have 330,000 people. We have the other 1.2, almost 1.3 million people.
Yep.
We'll be rotating in an additional 400 to 500 deputies through the shift, trying to get them rest, knowing that they're really going to get busy after this storm passes, and we have to respond to the aftermath.
What are the most important messages from the position of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office right now?
I have to tell you what, I've been out, and since yesterday, everyone's heeding the warnings. I see them at all the grocery stores, getting their supplies, getting whatever essential needs they are. I see the lines at the gas station and the roadways. When we were up in the helicopter, I could see the traffic. We even opened up the emergency lane to help people get out. They're heeding the warning. I'm very happy. I think what they have to know, and this isn't doom and gloom, if you live in evacuation zone A and B, this storm's unlike any other storm. Last storm with Hurricane Helene, the wind shear and never sustained more than 20 to 25 miles an hour. Once it gets to that 40-mile-per-hour cutoff and it becomes too unsafe, when you're talking 5 to 10 inches of rain, when you're talking 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, when you're talking 125 to 130-mile-per-hour winds, unfortunately, there's going to be a time where we're not going to be able to respond. And I hate that, but that's the reality of a catastrophic storm that's bearing down on us. And now with that cone of uncertainty shrinking, we're busy because we even had some of our assets strategically placed. And knowing that the winds are even worse, we're moving some of our assets to make sure that we're prepared for when we have to respond after the storm passes.
Now, I was at the Honorary Deputy Training Day just last Friday out in Lithia, and you were able to demonstrate the SHRP high water rescue units, which are unbelievable. You have 2, I believe a third is on order. Where are the SHRPs going to be positioned for high water rescue?
Yeah, great question. And I have to tell you, and thank you for being there and seeing some of our capabilities. Our third one did come in along with a second airboat. So to have those 5 assets along with all the John boats, they're at Tampa Stadium. The Glazer family is extremely generous. All of our SWAT team, everything that has a value is underneath the stadium right now, knowing that they're safe and secure there.
All right, Sheriff, I want to thank you for your time this morning, and I know that all of the men and women of the Hillsborough County